Hello! Welcome to Stand-Up Second Sunday! I am Jay, she, they, which means I'm one of the trumpet campaign's biggest pinatas right now. I'm here with Aaron, he, him, and Pat's also here, also he, him. We are your house staff to help sell you things. Yay! Capitalism! Keeping the lights on. We'll be selling alcohol up until the headliner starts. We'll cut you off at that point. So, want to buy things? Go for it. We have recycling right over there and trash when you're done with your concessions items. We have restrooms there and down the hall. And we ask, let's be supportive of the place. Let's be supportive of each other. Let's be supportive of the comics, which means no heckling, please. If you want to heckle, Carl will be offering an intro to heckling workshop starting in February, so be sure to sign up for that and hold all your heckles until then. Your host for tonight is Carl Wolfson, who's been doing stand-up comedy for over 40 years, working on his tight 5 decades, has been teaching stand-up comedy here for quite a while, and hosting these Sundays for 5 months now. Woo! Put your hands together, let's welcome Carl Wolfson.
Thank you, Jay, so much. How about a hand for Jay and everybody who works at Comedy Sports? Patrick, who's here tonight, and his wife Ruth have been doing this for 30 years here. Give them a round of applause for their improv classes. And, 30 years, a long time, Patrick.
Yes.
He was so tired he couldn't answer that quickly, ladies and gentlemen. And we have a wonderful show for you tonight. Jeff Bell is here. Give Jeff a round of applause. Hannah Michelotti is here. Give Hannah a round of applause. And our headliner, Milt Abel, who is sitting in the throne over there. Give Milt a round of applause. Who's here to see Milt? We got Milt fan. Oh, Milt Tats back there. Good for you. Yeah. And this guy's leaving. You've seen Milt so much. Yeah. Thanks for supporting Milt. Where'd you come in from? I know he lives in Wilsonville.
Portland.
You came in from Portland. Well, thank you. No wonder you were late. Yeah. It was such a beautiful day today, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh my God, it was so beautiful. This is the best day. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene says that Democrats control the weather, so thank you, Democrats. I guess, truthfully, Marjorie, if Democrats controlled the weather, you would have been struck by lightning 1,000,000 times by now. Seriously. I had a fun day today. Did anybody do anything fun? What did you do? Okay, great crowd. It's going to be good tonight. Now we sat around and moped. I had one awful experience today. I saw a car hit a squirrel. I'm sorry. Who's stoned? But then a car streaked down the street and just missed Robert Kennedy Jr., who was eating the squirrel. So it kind of... Boy, we're up on current events, aren't we? We have a new dog. My husband and I have a dog for a year. She's wonderful. You met Roxy. She's very sweet, rescue dog, and we were out walking her a lot. Anybody have dogs? You got dogs? Yeah, what do you got back there, sir?
Golden retriever.
Golden retriever. See, I love golden retrievers. Gary said it's too cliche a dog. That's what he said. And he's not here tonight, so I can talk about him, right? And how old is your golden?
9 and 7. There's 2.
Oh, geez, I thought he was in transition or something. In 6 weeks, he'll be a pug. I don't know. Now you got 2 of them. Oh, that's great. I love Roxy because dog.
That to go with it.
Okay, your part's extended. And a what to go with it?
A robo-vac.
A robo-vac. Yeah. See, Roxy has hair, not fur. She's a Chihuahua Poodle Terrier mix, which is great. And I love her especially because she laughs at all my jokes. Unlike this audience. The other night, Gary was cooking in the kitchen. I'm telling Roxy a joke, and I hear Gary say, "Won't be as funny the 50th time you've heard it." 27 years of marriage, yeah, dinner conversation aren't as sparkling as they were when you first were together. You know, last month he goes, "Is there anything worse than hard butter?" I'm thinking, genocide? I don't know. We just we bought a car in April, and we're very liberal, but this car our liberal neighbors do not approve of. Yeah, you know what car I'm talking about. And it's a very odd time in Portland where I can be open about my relationship and in the closet about my Tesla. My neighbor Andy calls us the sons of Elon. This is true. Milton, how long have you been doing comedy now? You said 40?
41.
41
No, wait,
years.
43.
43, it just went up. Did you see that? Because when you've been doing comedy 41 years, you forget,
Yeah,
basically. So it just went up to 43.
yeah.
And tonight may extend to 50. You don't know how this goes. Yeah, I've been doing it 45. And are you nostalgic? You were talking to me in the back about Susan Rice and all our great times. And do you find yourself being nostalgic?
No, it doesn't work.
Well, it would work better for my joke if you said yes. Why can't you be like Roxy? She goes with my setups.
At times I do enjoy being nostalgic, come to think
Oh,
of it.
thank you. Funny you should be nostalgic. Because I, too, am nostalgic. I'm a little bit late on that applause. My students know, I tell them this, that I think about what comedy is, and it's just having an incredible time and making people have an incredible time. And over almost 5 decades, that happens. I mean, I am nostalgic. I was on Alan Thicke Show, Thick of the Night every week. Alan passed away suddenly. I was on Joan Rivers every month. Joan passed away suddenly. I kind of wish I'd been on The Apprentice. But thank you. That was a knee slapper, wasn't it? Oh my God. And I come from a Republican family, which is just double damage. Anyone from the Republican? Oh, Janet, my friend Janet. Yeah, the damage it causes, you know? My grandmother in the 50s, she just hated Democrats. She hated Catholics and Jews and black people and homosexuals. That's all I ever heard from my loving grandmother. But my oldest sister married a Jewish man. My next oldest sister married a Catholic. I'm gay. My younger sister married a black man. So, yeah, thank you. My grandmother has rolled over in the grave so many times she's rotated away to China, ladies and gentlemen. And she talks smack about Asians, so she's in a good place. I can tell you that. My mother, I was visiting her in Florida, my Republican mother, she would say stuff, she once accidentally bleached my Obama t-shirt. So I set fire to her Glenn Beck Christmas sweater. Any childless cat ladies here? Janet, you keep raising your hand, I just assume. Are you nostalgic about comedy? No childless cat ladies? Come on, right there, good for you. I'm for you. How many cats do you have?
I'm only allowed one.
You're only allowed one? And this man gets 2 Goldens? What's going on? I don't even think ranked voting is going to solve this. What, you're allowed by whom? Who?
Jeff Bell.
Oh, Jeff. Oh, I'm sorry. This is, you're Tina, right?
Amber.
Amber, I'm sorry. I on class. You know, Jeff was talking about Tina this, Tina that, Tina this, Tina that. I meant Amber. I was thinking my friend Dylan's girlfriend is Tina, and he's not allowed anything. So I'm sorry, Amber. Yeah, I recognize you now. How are you, Amber? So Jeff, what's going on? You don't like cats?
I love cats.
But just one?
We don't have the space.
How big do you think these cats are? Do you want to bring a panther into them? Oh, God. That reminds me of... Oh, never mind. Often in class, well, I'll tell the joke. Often in class, I illustrate comedy with jokes of other comics, and Bob Shaw was one of the greatest comics of all time. He talked about in college he and his roommate ran out of pot, so they smoked catnip because they had to get stoned, and so they spent the rest of the evening batting around huge cellophane balls, and his roommate took a dump in the litter box, and his parents were visiting the next day and wanted to know if they owned a mountain lion. So that's the only thing I could come up with a panther analogy, but it's a visual. Are you excited to see Jeff? Have you heard his jokes before?
So many times.
So many times. It's unbelievable. Jeff is extremely excited to...
I am now.
Now that it's out about Tina. I was going to tell you about Childless Cat Ladies because my very good friend Martha Jane in Los Angeles, also a comedian, she's the ultimate childless cat lady. But she'd love to name her cats things like Purry Mason, excuse me, and Chairman Meow. And she had a beautiful little bungalow in Hollywood. She had Chairman Meow out back playing while she was out reading the newspaper. And she heard some noise, and she says, "Is baby playing with his balls?" And she hears a voice, "No, ma'am, I'm just here to read the meter." Excited now, are you? Now, Jeff is very excited because the Ducks won and he was at the game. Patrick Short, the owner of this place, was not only at the game, but was pictured in the 180, right?
The 360.
The three-
We found Jeff.
I'm sorry, Ohio State was 180. They were 360. All right, so 360.
Jeff was there, but we didn't find Tina.
Yeah, look at Amber going, this is getting a little hot for me. Suddenly I'm in a quadruple. Him, me, Tina, and that cat. Only one more. So yeah, it was an exciting game. I watched all of it on TV. Amazing. And you're a big Ducks fan, right? Yeah, that's very good. I grew up in Philadelphia. Our games were a little different. When I was 15 years old, I went to the very infamous Eagles game against the Minnesota Vikings on December 15th, 1968, when they booed Santa Claus off the field. True story. The Eagles were 2-11. It was 7-7.5. They booed the coach, and then Santa Claus came on, and they booed him off the field. And it's the first time I heard cursing in my life. I learned Jesus' middle initial, and the reason they booed, other than just being Eagles fans and being unhappy, was that the real Santa Claus, like there's, yeah, the original Santa Claus, who was big and jolly, was snowed in Atlantic City. So they got a substitute Santa who was a skinny kid. And they would not accept a skinny kid as Santa. So that's where I grew up, right? And then I went to Raiders games when I lived in Los Angeles. And I'm a fan of the Raiders. I just like to watch the fans. The fans were always fun to see. In fact, they had so many fights at the Coliseum, they actually banned beer and liquor sales for the rest of the season after one particularly bad melee. And the game after that, they banned it. we're up in the nosebleed section. This Raider fan comes walking up the steps with a little baby in a harness, you know, the harness, baby Bjorn or whatever, patting to the baby, cooing on the baby, and then sits down in front of us, proceeds to unscrew the baby's head, put in a straw and suck liquor for another quarter. Now that's a Raiders fan. Okay, you guys ready for the show? We're all ready. Coming to the stage, and I'm going to enjoy him explaining Tina to Amber. He's just such a funny guy, and he came by to practice his set in one of my classes this week, and just, you know, people were on the floor. He's just so naturally funny. Please welcome Jeff Bell, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks a lot, Carl. Really set me up well here. I feel like I need to spend this time actually like defending myself to my wife, Tina. Amber, actually. Yeah, that'll be a fun conversation later. I have to say, go Ducks. I have to start out that way. My name is Jeff. Thanks so much for being here and supporting live local comedy. Really happy to have you out. Fair warning though, I am going to bring things down just a little bit because there's something I got to get off my chest. I don't really care for people who have Down syndrome, and yeah, I know how that sounds. Let me clarify just a little bit. As someone who has cerebral palsy, I don't care for people with Down syndrome because all my life they're the ones that have gotten all of the attention, and no one gives a shit about cerebral palsy because if you see me walking down the street, you think something's wrong, right? Maybe he's just drunk. And you would be right at least half the time. But if you saw someone with Down syndrome, you'd probably assume that they're happy and having a good time because they usually are. And why wouldn't they be? All of their lives, they've been spoiled with free trips to places like Disneyland and Hawaii. And the coolest thing that ever happened to me, I actually had to sit and think about this. My local 9-hole golf course gave me a token for half-off rounds one summer. If I could prove I had cerebral palsy with a doctor note. As if I walk around like Pinocchio just for fun, right? But admittedly, I did think it was pretty cool until I overheard one of the managers saying, it's a great deal because we look good and there's no way this kid can walk 9 holes. So, hey, joke's on them. I was so bad at golf, I would always quit after hole 4 or 5 anyway, so it all worked out. There was another time I was staying in the hospital for a surgery, and the place was absolutely buzzing because we were told that the next day, Denzel Washington was coming in to meet us all, which sounded really cool, until Mr. Washington ended up next door at the Down syndrome clinic. So they quickly had to find a replacement, which at the time was a super exciting up-and-coming author named J.D. Vance. Even to this day, I can still recall the unmistakable stench of female rejection. It was all over him. But I won't get political. That's not really my thing. I'll keep things light and happy. So I'll get back to why I don't like people with Down syndrome. We had 2 kids. Do I sound bitter? Good. That's what I'm going for here. We had 2 kids in high school, and every single fucking year, we would throw a fundraiser to send them and their families on these lavish vacations. But they remembered me once and honored me by building an extra hand railing on one of these staircases. They put a plaque up next to it. It said the Jeff Bell, we thought he was kidding, hand railing, because it was only 2 steps. I was not kidding. That was an important hand railing for me. Speaking of which, these 2 stairs right here are pretty dicey. Everybody's saying these are tricky stairs, and I feel like if I had Down syndrome, you'd build an escalator for me by now. What's more, I told that joke here 1 year ago, and in that time, not even a ramp. I mean, you could go outside and find a random 8-year-old skateboarder with cardboard, a little imagination, and he'd put one up in 10 minutes. And if I had Down syndrome, he'd do it for me in 5. If you're picturing a very unathletic young boy, you've got me pegged exactly. Despite that, I always had a huge love of sports, and I tried out for my high school basketball team. I actually made it, which was exciting until I realized it was definitely a Make-A-Wish situation. I knew that because if you help grant a Make-A-Wish, you get a sizable tax deduction. So I somehow made the team, and in the spring, our teachers somehow had a new lounge. So I was more than happy to be a pawn, though. I had a great time on the team, but I never really got to play until we got to the final game of the year. We were up by 20 points. It was the fourth quarter, and it truly felt like a movie. The coach calls timeout. The crowd starts to rise. He points right down to the end of the bench, next to the kid next to me who had Down syndrome. This is how villains are born. But I feel like cerebral palsy Thanos probably wouldn't have marketed very well. The problem is people don't know a lot about cerebral palsy. It kind of affects all of us differently. So for me, it really affects my left side physically. My left leg limps and then just kind of all the way on up. But one thing I was surprised to discover is that my right forearm is a hell of a lot bigger than my left forearm. But I didn't realize this until around the age of 13. It's kind of when I first noticed it. And it's only gotten bigger since. I'm going to have to think on that one. I've also developed a very interesting relationship with my left hand, and not how that might sound. But I would be lying if I didn't say I at least once tried to masturbate with my left hand. The problem was it took me 90 minutes. And I know my lovely wife hears that and goes, well, 90 minutes, huh? Must be nice. Gee, where has that energy ever been from you? But look, 90 minutes is not the objective of a solo mission. And this is back when I had access to a Pornhub premium account. So all of their various categories, specialty categories, including one for cerebral palsy. Which, based on that reaction, it sounds like that kink is solely my own. Yeah, honestly, the left versus right thing within me is so distinct. I once went to an eye doctor, and they said that on a microscopic level, my left eye doesn't blink all the way. One thing I realized on my own is that I can tell, how do I put this delicately? I can tell which one of my nuts is producing my current deposit. It's true. When it's righty, it's your standard water gun, right? Same one I was born with. I understand some people have super soakers, but I'll take what I can get. It's a pump action model, but I think that's pretty standard. The point is, when righty's up to bat in close proximity, you might get wet. Okay. But when lefty comes up to the plate, there's a very funny little sound that occurs at the moment of completion. It's a very distinct. Yeah. Followed by a little cloud of dust. Sometimes there's a little white flag that just says bang. Yeah. Somebody say, does that feel good? No, you didn't. That'd be a weird question to ask. But I'll tell you, it does not feel good at all. It's a horrible feeling. So, I have a left leg that limps. I have a left hand that has the grip strength of one of those arcade claw machines. And a left nut that shoots blanks. But don't feel sorry for me. Things have actually been really great this year. I just started a business where you hire me to come camping with you and your friends. And if that doesn't quite make sense, I'll explain a little bit further. You know the old saying about how you don't need to be faster than the bear, you just need to be faster than the slowest person in your group. That's me. I would love to be that guy. I've got an ad out there that says, are you faster than most toddlers? Don't leave home without your catchable camper. I went camping a lot. Another thing that happened to me this year is I got married to my lovely wife, Erin. She's great. I think the thing I love most about her, aside from, well, previously not knowing about Tina, is she puts up with my sports obsession, specifically college football. And I think anybody who knows a sports-obsessed person knows that there are levels to this. So like level 1, I got a tattoo when I graduated. Level 2, I refuse to brush my teeth with anything other than a green or a yellow toothbrush. Orange and purple are not allowed in our house. Level 3 is interesting though, because I refuse to eat duck. And I feel like I'm missing out. It looks good, but I'm eternally grateful that I was not born a fan of the Oregon State Beavers. You're a great audience. Sometimes that takes a minute. One argument we have a lot is she says, my football obsession takes up the whole fall. It's 3 or 4 months. And I always counter with, it's really only 13 or 14 total Saturdays. And I always like to remind her that my priorities are in order. Because if there were a true emergency, I would obviously pause the game and help out. She's a lucky woman, as you're all discovering tonight. Before I met my wife, though, I did try the whole online dating thing, and I quickly found out that we're all just trying to hide our red flags. You know, the things we don't want people to know about us, especially at first. My particular challenge was, how do you hide something like your entire left leg? Because the way I figure, I'm a smooth guy, and if I play my cards right, someone's going to get to see this left leg. So I started sprinkling in these fun little descriptors to my online profile just to prepare potential in-person dates for what they might experience. I started out real simple. I said, I'm Jeff and I have an extra bounce in my step. Which I thought was fun and whimsical, but it definitely did not paint the full picture. So I changed it to, cool fact about me is I have a very normal right leg. That led to a lot of questions I was not prepared to answer. So I finally settled on, I like to drink a lot, so if I'm wobbling around a little bit, I'm really just having a good time. And that one works great because it also just begins to sprinkle in a little bit of the whole alcoholism thing that I have. And I'm realizing, saying that out loud, the second time I've mentioned my drinking, you're probably wondering, does he have something to admit? Is there really a problem? And I honestly don't know. What I do know is that afterwards I will be doing tequila shots in the men's room and I'll tell you all about it. It'll be fun. Welcome to join me. One thread though that I discovered between dating and now even being married is I'm always thinking about how I can get in better shape and be more fit. So recently I purchased a Fitbit fitness watch. And you'll notice I'm not wearing one right now. That's called foreshadowing, and that's the story I'm about to tell you. It all started out great. I opened the box, and it actually buzzed and said, hey there, champ, which was delightful. I quickly realized that I had purchased a Fitbit Junior. And I should have realized the signs. Like the first time I was brushing my teeth, it buzzed and said, don't forget your molars. As if I would ever forget my molars. But it was very passive-aggressive. You know, it keeps track of your heart rate, and so there was one morning, I decided to walk 1 block to the donut shop and 1 block home. And upon returning home, it buzzed and said, congrats on your 20-minute run. Not accurate. I sat down to eat the donut, it buzzed again and said, easy there, champ, did you know you're still working out? Also, very disappointing. But I think the worst moment came when I left that damn audio notification on and we finished having sex and it buzzed and said, 90-second energy outburst. Way to go, champ. Thanks, everybody. Like I said, I will be in the back doing tequila shots. They're not free, though. If you have Down syndrome, they're half off. If you happen to have cerebral palsy, I'm going to have to charge you double. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Jeff Bell, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff Bell. How are you? One more time for Jeff. Great stuff. You hear any new jokes? Were there new jokes in there? A couple new jokes? How'd they go? What would you rate them?
Really good. There were some like,
They're really good. You're getting laid tonight. Good. Very good. Yeah. Jeff took 3 classes for me, and before he took the class, he did not have cerebral palsy, so it worked out. Encourage people to get a disease and talk about it. A number of my students are here tonight. I always like to acknowledge them. Andrea and Mark are here, and Calvin, Alice, who am I forgetting? Oh, Jeff O'Malley will be on the next second Sunday, so be sure to show up on the next second Sunday to see Jeff, and that will be the 13th?
Hold on, checking. Maybe 8th, 9th,
10th.
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 I don't even know when my shows are. Yeah. Now, yeah. Good job. Go beat the shit out of him after that. The words will be had. No. And the showcases for my current students I know these. They'll be on November 3rd, 17th, and 24th. And you can, those are only a $5 cover. And you can get all the information, even about the classes, at portlandcomedy.com. That's portlandcomedy.com. A lot of my students, as a lot of comics, are working out their therapy in class. You know, family dysfunction, mothers, fathers, all that crap that we hold inside, and comedy is part of the truth that releases that, right? Okay. Yeah, my mom, she, when I was younger, she told me I should do more masculine things, so I started dating guys. Didn't work out the way she thought. When I finally came out to her, she said, well, we didn't have homosexuals in the 1950s. I said, well, somebody put the fins on those Cadillacs. Somebody did those beehive hairdos. My mom's great. She told me, she goes, don't go to therapy, they just blame the mother. I went, our next comedian, we'll talk about her childhood, I believe. She has done so, and Hannah is just terrific. She did take one of my classes, probably didn't need to because she is so naturally funny, and also teaches storytelling here at Comedy Sports. Again, portlandcomedy.com is the website. Please welcome Hannah Michelotti, ladies and gentlemen. Hannah Michelotti.
I took 2 classes. So I am what is called a recovering godaholic. We live in the shadows. I was raised very, very Christian, but I was not raised this kind of Christian. Those are the vampires that drink the blood of Christ. Those are the Catholics. They also enjoy rhythmic gymnastics in the pews. I was raised this kind of Christian. If you could all please close your eyes with me for one moment while we lay hands on this young man. Dear God, Heavenly Father, please, we ask that you come into this young man's life. Kyle, who's just joined our congregation. God, we know Kyle made some mistakes in Las Vegas last weekend. We know that technically his credit card paid for 7 male strippers. We know Kyle loves women. God, we ask you to please remove the temptation of the male flesh from Kyle's mind, and that he finds the love and glory in you, Almighty Father. In your name we pray, amen. That kind of Christian. And when you're raised really Christian, you don't realize that you're in it. I was 4 years old when I went to VBS, which is, there's a lot of acronyms, Vacation Bible School. I was in the CLB, the church lady's basement, and she said, Hannah, do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior in your heart and your soul? And that's a lot of language that a 4-year-old doesn't understand. And my face went very placid and blank, and she saw this, and she whipped out a troll pencil, and I was like, yes. It wasn't until 4th grade, though, that I cognitively caught on that maybe I was a little bit different, and I learned 3 things. So first, I was excellent at playing the Oregon Trail game. I can ford the river like nobody else. Number 2, that I was kind of like being groomed for this virgin bride life for a Jesus Christ that I would never meet in real life, but only after I died. And that none of my friends were being raised this way. They didn't have to go to church twice a week. And third and finally, that this amazing, awesome God who loves us and adores us and was born humbly in a manger and performs miracles, he did not spare anyone from cholera or scarlet fever on the Oregon Trail. And I lost a lot of people and cattle because of that. Also in 4th grade is when puberty hits. And it's kind of like the body snatchers. You're like, who's it going to happen to next? Who's going to suddenly like have size F boobs and like erections all the time? And instead of discussing this normally at church and acknowledging it like everyone else does, that was the time that they decided to tell us that our husbands, our future husbands, would be abstinent and pure for us beginning at 10 years old in 4th grade. So I went home to my diary and I looked at the first 8 names of the boys I liked most on my list, and I crossed off the first 7 because all 7 of them had made out with Allison Menashe at recess in the beginning. And my husband's lips would be from my lips only. He would never, because Jesus would smite him if he did. And that's kind of a confusing point. So you've got God, who is the Father, own entity. He has a son whose name is Jesus, who's a human that was born on earth, own entity. And then you have the Holy Spirit, which is Casper of Christianity. And they are all their own thing, but sometimes they turn into a transformer and they become the Holy Trinity. And this was my first exposure to threesomes, also. And also my first exposure to a pyramid scheme. The church does this thing called tithing. That's their jargon for it. And what happens before tithing is the ministry team assembles, and it's like the Supreme Court of the church. And they hop in their white, nondescript passenger van, and they speed on over to Michael's for a BOGO sale. And they buy a bunch of platters with Jesus Christ on them. And then they bring them into the sanctuary. And at this time, they ask for everyone to give what they feel like they can give. And like little marionettes on strings, everyone opens up their wallet and they deposit thousands of dollars on red, the blood of Jesus Christ. It is not a bet with your soul. We don't bet. It's a sure thing. And my dad got really, really into tithing because he believed that it could buy him a spot in heaven, which would make sense based on what was happening. We have, as a family, donated so much in tithing that there is a wing in a mega church in Portland with our name on it. And that sounds like really not very humble. There's a place where people gather to worship God and where others can come too, and you're all invited, and we ask for people's money there. Isn't that amazing that we have something like that? And actually, Patrick knows this is coming, but I'm going to have all the ushers come forward now with some trays. And we're going to display, Patrick, we're going to put up my Cash App and my Venmo. If you feel called to donate in the name of Jesus Christ, please give what you can. Don't get it twisted. Tithing is trick-or-treating for money. And they don't even have to say trick-or-treat. Things got really bad, though, in 6th grade. And that is when Satan, who is a fallen angel, was Lucifer, did some bad things in heaven, and then got granted an entire realm. He sank his claws into Bloomsbury, UK, and a single mother, and published Harry Potter. Witchcraft on a page, I kid you not. My dad did not know I was reading Harry Potter, and then one night I had a nightmare and I was looking for my wand very loudly. He put 2 and 2 together. He grabbed the book and my dad burned Harry Potter. That kind of Christian, like book burning Harry Potter. That wasn't clear. But in 7th grade, things got better, and our educator in science brought in an abstinence-only adult for the whole class to enjoy. And she had 2 excellent methods that I will never, till the end of my days, forget. First was a construction paper heart, and she told us to take the heart when we got it and pull off a piece of the heart. This was 21 13-year-olds. She gave it to the first boy in the row, who promptly tore the heart in half and kept 1 half. She then admonished him, that's not how this works, please take a smaller piece. By the time we finished, it was a baby fingernail that was left, and she said, this is what will be left of your heart if you do not abstain until marriage. Then she took a piece of masking tape, it was clear boxing tape, and she told us we were supposed to put it on our arm and then rip it off, all 21 of us. So the first few people, they cried or, exclaimed loudly, but the 7th person, it didn't stick. And then she held it up after all 21 of us had put dead skin cells on our tape, and she said, "This is what your soul will look like if you do not abstain until marriage." And people really wonder why I go to therapy. The great thing, though, about Christianity is there's this concept of forgiveness. You can be forgiven for anything you've ever done to anyone, ever. So as my dad likes to say, Hannah, we are going to be in heaven with Ted Bundy. Takes a while sometimes for that one to land. Yes. The serial killer, Ted Bundy. Because according to Fox News, Ted Bundy accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior on his deathbed and was instantly absolved of all of his sins. So by that logic, why don't we just go upstairs for a second and see who's going to be at Thanksgiving dinner? So we've got Teddo, who's popping bottles because he got away with it. And then, you know, statistically speaking, his victims will also be up in heaven, and they're like, what the fuck? Next to me is going to be a cult leader, Amy Coney Barrett. Next to her will be a therapist, the rapist, Brett Kavanaugh. And then across from Jesus will be the orange troll in a MAGA hat. This is heaven. It sounds like Florida is heaven, so if you want to spend time there, head on up. But I know that Christianity really gets a bad reputation, so I'm going to close out by telling you my favorite part about it, which is a really fair religion. So you've probably all heard there's a good book, it's called the Bible. In the Bible, 10 Commandments. 10 Commandments have great things like thou shalt not steal or covet thy neighbor's wife. Things you just shouldn't do in life, and if you follow them, great. If you don't, it's called a sin. All sins are weighed equally. So, if you're 4 and you steal a handful of troll pencils from BBS, that has the same weight as if you, I don't know, kill 30 women in the 70s and 80s. Same thing. The trick is the legal system doesn't see it the same way. So there's some run-ins there. So the best way to explain it is with purity. So you're not supposed to have before marriage. They don't even like you to say it. It's like drugs. If you say, the kids will do it. So they call it fornicating instead. And there are 2 separate talks that happen with the children to make sure that they understand about and purity. And I'm going to give you those talks right now. It's a little bit redundant, but this is how it goes for the boys. Yeah. So, guys, just keep it in your pants. Like if your pants fall off and it comes out and it goes in a little bit, just don't ever tell your future wife, ask for forgiveness, and let's call it in. Let's bring it in. Go, God. That's the boys' talk. The girls is identical, again, redundant. So, what have we learned, ladies? That's right. Our skirts, only skirts, they need to come to our knees. Otherwise, what will happen? The men will lust after us. Yes. And we have to have everything covered up to our shoulders. What's that, Katie? You had a question about what you did this weekend with your boyfriend? What did you do with your boyfriend? When we show too much skin, they come after us. We cannot control the urges of men. We must dress appropriately. Katie, I knew this would happen. You know what? This is just so typical. It's like apple tree, Eve, you. I knew this was going to happen. You know what? Here's what we're going to do, Katie. We're going to give you these 2 bags of giant emotional baggage that we're going to have you carry around for about 10 years. And we're going to tell everyone in the church what you did with your boyfriend so we can pray for your sins. Strength in numbers. You also probably should tithe a little bit more this week. And honestly, Katie, at this point with what you just did, the best you can possibly hope for a future partner is this person. They're a heroin addict, recovering, they're a divorcee, they just had a great weekend in Vegas. This is Kyle. Peace be with you all.
Nicolati, ladies and gentlemen. Hannah Nicolati. Who's going for Hannah? I just want to go on record and say that I have never coveted my neighbor's wife. 1 for 10. All right. One more time for Hannah. Love it. So, I talk a lot about my mom, and, the good news is, my mother, after she met Gary in 97, 98, she really loved Gary. So she changed her opinion about gay people, which, hey, love wins, right? Usually, hopefully on November 5th, but at least for my mother it happened, and which is very cool. And actually my mom, pretty inspirational story, when my parents were married 41 years and got a divorce. We just woke up one morning, check please, that's it. Shouldn't have been married 41 minutes, they argued all the time. But my mother was 62 at the time. The next year, 63, she met Walt, the love of her life, and had the 18 best years of her life. Isn't that a great story? Yeah. And which was great. And Walt was just so great for her because he loved her, he took her dancing, sent her flowers, everything my father didn't do. And he just adored her. Plus, he was hilarious. And this is why you should take my class, because humor can save a relationship from Tina, from... But because I was on TV, I was on TV a lot in the 80s, I would call down, they lived in Florida, and Walt, my mother's, my stepfather, would always answer the phone in his southern drawl, tell me one joke, and hand the phone to my mother. And it was pretty funny, and I was sitting in Chicago, I was playing the funny firm in the late 80s, and having lunch with my friend Kyle, whom I fucked a lot, and he'd gotten over the religion thing. And Kyle said to me, that's funny, you should do it on stage. So I did it, and I did it on a Showtime special, and ever since then, my stepfather just thought he was the coolest thing. But these are some of the jokes he would tell me. I called up, and he said, "Hey, sport, hear about that duck went into the drugstore and ordered a condom, and the druggist said, 'You want me to put this on your bill?'" "Here's your mother." The worst jokes, man. Next week, word for word. "Hey, Sport, hear about that nun taking a bath. She hears a knock at the door, gets out of the tub naked, runs the door, says, 'Who is it?' She hears a voice. It's the blind man. Guy comes in, says, 'Nice tits. Where you want these blinds?'" "Here's your mother." Best one he ever told me. "Hey, Sport, name the 3 most famous people shot in the back of the head. Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, and the guy sitting in front of Pee Wee Herman in the theater." "Here's your mother." May they rest in peace. So, how about the show so far? Good? We're in for a treat now. As I mentioned, I always like to have a couple of my students who are now full-fledged comics getting paid for it, and a headliner who's been doing it for a long time, including 43 years in Milt's case, and just a tremendous act, and just the nicest person in the world as well. Please welcome Milt Abel, ladies and gentlemen. Milt Abel.
Thank you all. Thank you for that applause. That's encouraging. Thank you. How about an applause for Carl and Jack? Thank you very much. I didn't know I'm on a basketball court. If you can see this in front, it's actually a key. I think that's the term. Anyway, first of all, let me mention right away. Obviously, I'm an older comic. I tuck in my shirt. No, I go further back than a millennial. I may be a colonial. Yeah, and getting older. I don't know how old I look. I was at Trader Joe's a few weeks back the other day. Well, that's another thing. When you get older, the other day could mean a decade. But yeah, anyway, so I was at Trader Joe's, and just for fun, I was buying some wine just for fun. I voluntarily handed up my ID card. And the gal working the register just started laughing and laughing. And I took a breath and laughed some more. And she goes, "Oh, you made my day." And I go, "Well, you undid mine." Yeah, my greetings have changed. They've changed from what's happening to what happened. Less flexible. Now when I spill change from my hand, I count it before I decide to pick it up. How much? 17 cents? I can come back for that. There's no hurry. I can just come back for that. Less flexible. The only yoga I do is in the shower now, trying to watch that spot in the middle of my back. I think the position is called frustrated bird. Yeah, getting dressed is like a game of Twister. Remember that game, Twister? Yeah, you spin it and go, oh, left foot into left pant leg. Well, that'll be fun. Let's try that. You know what I did the other day? This may be decades now. I almost killed myself putting on my underwear. I was just getting started to get dressed. That's why I start my underwear. Do I need to mention that? Anybody put their shoes on first as a challenge? Okay. Yeah, nothing's on TV. Let's try the shoe thing. No, I have my briefs and I stab brief. I'm a brief guy, verbose, but I wear briefs. I didn't think that would get anything. Thank you. Very generous. So I have my briefs. I step one knee through, fine, no problem. Take a step with the second leg and my foot caught. You've done this before. You're laughing. Sorry. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, hell yeah. I snagged my big toe on the fabric. Digit grandis interruptus is what happened there. And I realized now I should have just dropped my underwear there and started over. That's what I should have done, but apparently I had so much effort in the project already. I just couldn't throw those man hours out the window. So I started, wrestling with it, trying to beat my underwear. Give them a self-esteem thing, I'm looking at my toe, and I ended up sneaking my toe through that maze in the front of the underwear. You know what I'm talking about, ladies? That maze in men's briefs. By the way, no guy uses that maze. Nope, it's over the fence. Nobody uses the maze. You see a guy. No, it takes too long, right? Yeah. No, it just takes too long. So, yeah, if you see a guy using the maze, leave him. He's weird. Maze is nothing but a trap for the big toe, is what it is. And I'm handcuffed to my knee, and I start bouncing toward this night table. I'm thinking, I'm going to hit my temple on the edge of that and die trying to put on my underwear. What a horrible way to die. I mean, where would you go if you died that stupidly? Heaven would be too generous. Hell would be too cruel. Dimbo. Everybody died stupidly. Dimbo. How'd you die? Well, I drowned gargling. All right. So, by the way, thank you very much for coming to the show tonight. The audience really helps. Thank you. Some of you came just from Portland. Those that came far away, thank you extra because, gosh, the price of gas now. I'll tell you, the price of gas ever hits the same price as Scotch, I'm going to be torn about leaving the house. It's going to be a good night. I had an omen as I pulled up. My odometer rolled over to 100,000 miles exactly as I stopped just down the block there. I think that's a good omen. I also think there was a quicker way to get here. Got to see a lot of Canada. I think I can tell the comedy fans, you guys are really, those are good jokes, I like that. And then there's the audience is kind of going, okay, the next one. Canada, by the way, do you have anybody here from Canada? Just out of idle? Okay, let's talk about those losers. I'll tell you something. It's a cheap shot. But No, I love Canada. Very friendly country. Its national emblem says everything. A maple leaf. Trees, shade, pastoral, peaceful. National emblem of the United States, an eagle, a hunter, a raptor. Don't mess with the United States, we'll swoop down and rip you apart. Mess with Canada? Whoop, clog your gutters, eh? From Canada, eh? You know, Canadians aren't saying eh like they used to. Are you a speech therapist or just a disproportionate response to that premise? Not that I'm judging. It's morally wrong to judge. Think about that one for a second. Okay. Maybe I should mention before I actually begin my show that that's meant to be a joke too. That I am a member of MEMSA, ladies and gentlemen. That society I have to have an IQ of 148 or better to get in. Myself and a buddy share a membership. Canada, the Canadians are, what do you do for a living, just out of curiosity on the moment? Tattoos. And you've got a few, that's very nice. Good, it looks very pretty. Not for me. Good. Okay, I'm taking you. Okay, I would hope that you think that maybe he just doesn't have any tattoo jokes and move on. Okay, so I forgot what I was talking. You ever been talking to someone, they'll stop mid-sentence and go, oh, what was I going to say? I don't know, I could take a shot at it at the odds. Can I buy a vowel? People say you're crazy, talk to yourself. Think this is true? Crazy, talk to yourself? No. It's not whether you talk to yourself, it's what you say when you talk to yourself. That's the deciding factor. There's a world of difference between, gee, what I put my car keys in, I am Satan's favorite pastime. People say you're crazy if you answer yourself. Maybe so. I'd say you're crazy if you answer yourself incorrectly. Might be a problem there. Is that me in the mirror? No. Who are you? I'm sorry I brought it up. Speaking of who are you, did a real wild private party last month. I don't work very much these days, but I used to do a lot of corporate. You know, Carl talked about this. I've been doing comedy a very, very long time. Enjoying it. It is a lot of fun. As you guys that are trying to get started in it, best wishes. I'll try and leave room for you. I did a real wild private party the other day. Okay, I think we got a callback joke all night tonight. It was a company picnic for the Witness Protection Program. Everybody name tags on, but there's nothing written on them. So Canada, A, tattoo. That's where I drifted off from where my plan. So we're going back to that. Canadians aren't saying A as much as they used to. I'll tell you why. They're secretly meeting to get rid of this vocal habit. Meetings are called AA. Yeah, please enjoy. You know how Canada was named, by the way. You know, when they wanted their own sovereignty, England wasn't very happy about it, and they said, okay, we're going to give this territory a silly name. And they had a local official, they said, okay, you want your own country, here's a hat with nothing but consonants in it, reach in, pull 3 out, and announce it, and whatever he says you write down, that'll be the name of your silly big country. So the guy reaches in and goes, C, eh? N, eh? D, eh? And that's how Canada was named. So I speaking of distances, I'm from Wilsonville, small town. Our last mayor was elected by rock, paper, scissors. No, I I mentioned that. I mentioned that because you guys, you know what Wilsonville is. The rest of the world, of course, I say I live in Portland. I wouldn't say it to you guys. I know how proud you are about having to find parking. So anyway, and have you noticed that dynamic, by the way? The more you care about starting a relationship with a person, you know, becoming friends or whatever, you become more specific about where you actually live, isn't it? Have you noticed that? Where am I from? Earth. Don't visit. Anyway, yeah, I live in Wilsonville. I lived by myself. It wasn't always that way. I was married. I had 3 children, but there was a divorce. The kids all grew up and moved away. It's kind of like Survivor, but without the voting. The kids are gone. I wonder how good a parent I was when I was raising them, or my ex-wife and I were raising them. You wonder how good a parent you are when you find yourself going, oh shit, they're awake. There goes the day. Yeah, my ex-wife and I had 3. I have to say ex-wife. I always want to say wife, because sometimes I forget to cross her out, ex-wife. And yeah, we got divorced. It didn't work out. I don't know what the major cause of the divorce. Probably was the fact we got married. Carl's met my ex-wife, Janie.
Janie.
Yeah, he came over for dinner.
I think the problem was Tina.
I didn't see from my perspective. Where's Tina? Is she here?
This is Amber.
Tina's competition.
All right, well, that's the problem. No, we argued all the time. I remember one time I said to her, why don't we just agree to disagree? And she goes, for argument's sake, let's not. No, you know, we would argue, but I would give up. I mean, she just would go and go until she convinced me that, oh yeah, you're right, okay, you know. A long argument with my wife is a lot like watching a fireworks show. Because you sit there and go, well, that's the finale. Oh, there's more. Look at the colors. It matches the mood and everything. That's just amazing. One time they argued for 20 minutes about ketchup. Ketchup. Yeah. Yeah, I put ketchup on it, you know. It's funny, I just started a joke, I have no idea how to finish. It's a really, really old joke. My memory's going. I was able to throw myself a surprise birthday party. Yeah, I waited behind that couch for almost 20 minutes. Then I realized it was me I was waiting for, and then, hey! So, let's talk more about, we argued. I mean, I give in. If I was wrong, honey, I gave you the car keys. You have the car keys. Do you remember? We were standing in the hallway. I reached in my pocket. Okay, let's go. We saw a counselor. I didn't care for the counselor. Marriage. You know, it's funny. Driver's license you have to renew every 5 to 10 years. Marriage license, you have your entire life to run that thing off the road into a ditch. Yeah, I'm a little bitter about my ex-wife, obviously. We saw a counselor, didn't like the counselor. Counselor wouldn't take sides. You know, I really think they should say, hey, you know what? You're right on this, and you're wrong. But they won't do that, counselors won't. Are there any marriage counselors here? All right, let's talk about those losers. I'll tell you something. No, marriage counseling, I think, should be a little closer to being like pin the tail on the donkey, where you make an effort to point out the ass. That's all I'm saying. So I have dabbled in the dating world. I have real mixed feelings about it. I'm getting older. My sex drive has gotten out of the car and started walking, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, there's the companionship, but I have a dog, and the dog doesn't pry. Although that's a new joke. No, I mean, I have a, yeah, the other day, August 7th of last year, I was walking my dog and the person behind me goes, bicyclist, on your left! And I had to stop and think, which way am I facing? There's another level in there that wasn't necessary. I heard a lady complaining about her dog. She was trying to get it to behave a certain way. What did I tell you yesterday? What do you think a dog thinks about that? You know, yesterday is what? What is that? You know, I don't know. So dating. So I tried the dating sites. I found it to be Grindr. Very frustrating. Very. Kind of a dead end, really. Tinder. Now, Tinder was interesting because the Tinder is pretty much about having sex that night. I mean, you know, I want to have sex. You want to have sex? It's agreed. Okay, fine. But I am old school. I'm used to obstacles. You know. So I use an app called Hinder. It gives you the wrong address. Yeah, I don't know. The dating. What's troubling about the dating sites, hard for me, is that I think the more honest you are about your profile, is the better the match will be. You know, so it's a real effort to do some deep introspection. You know, and I like this, and well, I actually don't like myself that very much, but don't let that stop you. Okay. I went on this one date with a gal. She ended up crying on our first date, and last, coincidentally. Well, she was upset about how her last boyfriend treated her, and she kept bringing it up in our conversation. He did this, and look at me. And then he would do that. Like, you know, are you going to be like this person? And I kind of felt like I was at an airport baggage claim area at a carousel for emotional baggage. And it kept coming down and coming down. No, that's not mine. No, that's not mine. Okay, I do that. So what's going on? Dating, my kids. We argued, my ex-wife and I argued about whether we're going to spank the kids or not. I said, let's wait till they do something wrong. That's a workable timetable, isn't it? Used to be they didn't wait a second to spank you. Used to be the second you're born, they'd pull you out, hang you upside down, smack, welcome to the world. Well, this place sucks. Nowadays, you get a newborn to cry, they just tell them about the national debt, they break into tears right there. You're 1 second old and $15 trillion in debt. This place sucks. You know, as far as discipline goes, I will share with you that my wife, ex-wife, did physically discipline our kids. It wasn't our first choice. I know some people say, oh, you know, I've been to all over the country. You know, the South, every place. Carl's been as well. And Johnny Cash. And so, anyway, there's groups of people, oh, beat the hell out of them. You know, that's something they'll learn. You know, I've met absolute angels that have never been spanked in their lives, and I've met monsters that get spanked every day. So it isn't, spanking is not the do or die issue. What really is a do or die issue about raising children is to follow through on what you say you're going to do. To let them learn that the world has consequences. You know. If you do that again, you'll be grounded for the rest of your life. No, wait a minute, that means you'll never move out. Wait, I'll take that back. I was always reluctant to spank my kids in public. Not that they didn't deserve it. And believe me, it wasn't our first choice. First choice was timeout. That didn't work. Bow and arrow. I remember what was, my parents would go, you could have hurt yourself. Don't ever do that again. Thanks for taking the chance out of it. I miss being a kid, I do. I miss the lack of responsibility, the smell of new clothes in September. Remember that? I know I'm no longer a kid because I grunt now. I grunt more. You grunt more as you get older. Never see a 6-year-old kid grunt to pick something up. Is that my toy? Never dropping those again. Kids have great stuff for breakfast. Captain Crunch, do you have any Captain Crunch fans amongst us? Yeah, a few people? Okay, you're nodding. What kind of Captain Crunch do you like, sir? In the red shirt and black hat. What kind? Just regular Captain Crunch? Yeah, for the fiber. Well, there's other kinds. There's peanut butter for the protein, and then crunch berries for the vitamins. This whole diet regimen. I don't know if you tried it recently. It rips the roof of your mouth apart. Right? If it's not prepared right, you can die from it. It's a lot like pufferfish. All right, that stuff. I was damaged. I was at the hospital in an hour. I'll be a cup of clump. The roof of my mouth. If you rip the fat, they're skin dingling. From roof of my mouth, from ethereal. Let me speak to you in a minute, Smartass. The guy who paid you, go get him. Doctor comes up. Yes, Dr. Smith is there, Bob. Did I interrupt your breakfast? Yes, you did. Trying to eat better. Yeah. Impossible beef. I can't believe it's not butter. When has food become incredulous? What'd you get in the store? Well, I'm not sure. And isn't it ironic? I just want to make sure everything. Is it Caitlin yarn? Yeah. Did you bring an anvil? That was heavy. I hope she doesn't heckle. We'll be in the middle of a Warner Brothers cartoon. Well, the comic got hit by an anvil. All right, so what was I going to say? I really am. Anybody remember what I was talking about just a minute ago before? Oh, I was talking about food. I want to do a chunk, or does Carl use the term bucket for your students? Yeah. Chunk is correct. Anyway, talking about food. I worked on cruise ships. I know what I was talking about. I think it was ironic that preservatives too many of them, can actually shorten our shelf life. Well, he's dead, but his hair looks good, doesn't it? Yeah. No, I worked on a cruise ship. I worked on cruise ships for 20 years. We can talk about that a little later. But when on a cruise ship, you can eat whatever you want, and as much as you want, whatever you want. And I actually disciplined myself for 1 week. I ate no dairy, no meat, and no gluten for 1 week, and I had so much energy. I wanted to chase something down and kill it and eat it right there. I could never give up barbecue ribs. They're just too fun to eat, aren't they? Barbecue ribs? I think there's something good feeling about tearing meat off a bone with your teeth. It's satisfying. You're upset about something, eat some barbecue ribs. It's cathartic. You don't get the same satisfaction with bean sprouts. Oh, Jill, is that Jill? Yeah, I didn't know you'd come. Yeah. It's redundant now, but thank you. No, big fan of Jill. I actually have a group of friends in an acting class. I have no jokes about this. I don't want to bring it up. I'm really making a mistake. But no, I'm taking an acting class, which I really enjoy. You would think that I would know how to act in public, but that's the joke. So, I have a theory, by the way, and this is why I was gonna bring up the mic stand.
Would you like a mic stand? I'll bring up the mic stand.
It's too much now.
No.
I feel like I'm married
I was
again.
just making out with Tina.
I know it won't fit, but I can force it. No, I can't force it. He was right. No, sometimes I can force it, but
Try
this
not to force it, that's a rule of comedy.
I know. How are you, ladies and gentlemen? It's great to be here!
It's one of the buckets.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna keep forcing it, but too much. Okay, so I have a theory of why we are an overweight society. We are an overweight society, ladies and gentlemen. We have spent billions of dollars trying to lose weight. We have diet pet food. Think about that. Animals that live near us are overweight. Anyway, here's why. One of the reasons we're an overweight society. We don't have to chase our food anymore. Think about that. Used to burn a lot of calories getting dinner on the table. I think there should be grocery stores for dieters where food can run away at pace good was alive. A little package of chicken on a railing like a dog race. That way, really overweight people could go, well, the vegetables are stationary. Instead of asking, what's on special? Anything weak or slow today? We've got a bad wheel here. Sprained my ankle playing Sudoku. Oh, I was wondering where my water was, and fate told me. Hasn't been a good week. I lost my vacuum cleaner. Yeah, I had a Roomba, you know. Moves around on its own. I left the front door open. It wandered off. It is now cleaning the great outdoors with the other wild Roomba. Have you heard about the herds? Yeah, they're growing. There's more and more adult all the time. The numbers are, mine's not helping. Mine's been fixed. Twice. They're called smartphones, but apparently anybody gets to use them. My smartphone makes me feel stupid. I'm afraid to push any buttons when I'm on a phone call. That'll kill the phone call. Let's talk TV remote controls. I mean, you know, I can see by physical appearance that but you haven't tucked in your shirt. We're similar age, maybe. Yeah. Remote controls, those have changed quite a bit, haven't they, in the past few decades? Yeah. They used to just turn on and off the TV. Now you can operate a drone with one of them. And TV itself, you know, gosh, all these channels. I didn't know there was so much stuff I didn't like. Anyway, I was talking about, smartphones. And so, my GPS, I got a better phone, but the one I had previously, the GPS was off by about 2 blocks. You are here. No, I'm not really. The only place it accurately got me to was the Beyond part of Bed Bath & Beyond. And I finally got rid of my landline. I had my landline for years so I could call my smartphone to find out where it was in the house. Unless it was on vibrate, then I need a then you need a seismologist. That's tough to get a laugh. Even tougher to get a laugh with the word loom. Loom. I'm not talking about the activity, the weaving device. Can it be a punchline? Let's find out. What else about my smartphone? The auto-correcting on the texting is always off. You know, it's trying to fill in the sentence for you, but it's not what I'm trying. It's off. It's like talking to someone who's hard of hearing. You know. Let's meet at 3. You want to meet in a tree? No, I don't want to meet in a tree. If my smartphone's autocorrect was entered into a spelling bee, it would come in list. That's kind of a triple somersault that right. Anyway. So the other day I got a phone solicitation on my smartphone. It used to be just the province of landlines, but now I'm getting phone solicitations on my smartphone cell phone. I get this call, they go, hello, is this Mark Abel? I go, no, this is Milt Abel. And he goes, well, you've won. You're already laughing, you got the same phone call, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm thinking, wow, I've got every answer wrong and I'm still in first place. This is amazing. She doesn't laugh out loud, but she's actually contorting her face and bending over. There it is, there's some audio, thank you. Did you do telemarketing yourself, or? Okay. He goes, you've won. He goes, you've won a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee. I said, well, great, send it over. He goes, you want a Jeep Cherokee, a color TV, or a portable radio? And I said, I'll stick with the Jeep. He goes, yeah, you want one of these three gifts. All I have to do is come down and listen to our 90-minute lecture on the condominiums. You know, got this call. So yeah, I said, no, I know what's up too. I go, you know what, you can keep the Jeep. And now I can tell he's losing me as a potential client, victim. He goes, hey, didn't you once fill out an entry form at a shopping mall or a movie theater over the past couple of years? Really? That was the sentence, past couple of years. Pretty much saying, have you been outside and signed your name? You're involved. You know? So now I just want to agree with him and say, you know what? I never freaking place like that. I'm Amish. I shouldn't be on the phone right now. Of course, my fear is now I'll get a letter saying you want a buggy or a loom. She left for the callback of the loom. She did. I'll do it again. All right. So where are we? Oh, okay, good. I don't know what to do. I just don't work very much. These lights are very bright. You ever drive down the road late at night, somebody comes on, you have really bright headlights, you turn on your brights, so they'll turn theirs down. Then they turn on some plutonium bromide arc lamp. I used to drive, excuse me, I used to drive up Interstate 5. You ever drive down the middle of California, Interstate 5? Isn't that a fun drive? Straight as a beam of light for 6 hours. Kind of rode an hour into it, you go, a turn! That's it, you know. Well, the pub's the speed limit. Oh, here, I'll try this. This is something, a joke I thought of today. Costco, went to Costco. Because it's such a nice day. Wasn't it a beautiful day? Almost a fluke. Fluke's an interesting word. It sounds like luck fucked up. That reminds me, I've become a nicer person as I've gotten older. When I was younger, I would, if a snail was in my footpath, I'd step on it. But I changed my stride now for a snail or a bug on the sidewalk. I've gotten kinder. Of course, that doesn't apply to my house. You know, if I see a spider or a spider, thank God they're not boastful. I'd hate to run across a boastful spider. I'll take you with 4 legs tied behind my back. Okay, I'm trying a few jokes on you guys, can you tell? So yeah, I mean, when they enter my house, then the rules have changed completely. I've tried once. You know, you get a spider on an envelope, and you're gonna take it out to the front door, and it jumps off. Damn it! I was trying to save your life. I had some medical issues a few years back. I'm not in poor health, but I am on a tight budget. And I was recovering. I went to the coast to just relax, and I had a hotel room, and there was a fly in my hotel room. And it was irritating all stay one night. And in the morning, I got to the situation where it was just me and the fly in the bathroom. I closed the door. I had just taken a shower. I had a wet towel, black fly in an all-white room. And I remember saying, only one of us is getting out of here alive. And I took about 3 to 5 swings, and I was so out of breath. I thought, my God, this could go either way. A friend of mine spent his entire life trying to find the secret to immortality. Know what his dying words were? No, that's not it. Saw my financial advisor the other day. We met at a dollar store. I love the dollar store. Isn't it fun to shop there? Because you feel wealthy. You know, I don't need to look at the price. I'll get it. In fact, pick something out for yourself. Go ahead, throw it in there. I don't care. You know the dollar store. I know it's $1.25 now for you mathematicians out there. But you know the dollar store had a pregnancy test for a while anyway. Can you imagine that? $1.25 for a pregnancy test? A whole, I mean, really? Think about that. Pretty important thing could be a yes or no answer, wouldn't you? Think about it, you might as well flip a quarter and save yourself 75 cents. But I saw my financial advisor, we discussed my retirement. I said to him, I go, what do I need to do to live my present lifestyle till the end of my days? And he said, you need to die suddenly. Okay. Oh, is it still working? It popped. Did you hear that? It's moving. I'm trying to tighten it, but maybe it doesn't tighten. Okay, so let's talk 5 more minutes.
Sure.
You know what? You should play poker, because I couldn't read that as sarcasm or...
Film, it's great. Go along.
I know.
Until you die.
Well,
That's
yeah. Open betting on that. No, I'm fine. Mortality. I love Woody Allen's line. I'm not afraid of death. I just don't want to be there when it happens. Anyway, let's get on to this. I was going to tell you a few stories about traveling. I worked cruise ships for 20 years. I've been all over the world. I mean, really all over the world. Antarctica. I walked on the continent of Antarctica. I saw a rookery in Antarctica, archipelago, the islands, of 300,000 penguins. The naturalists with us on the ship said there are 300,000 penguins out there. And it was, what a picture. I mean, they were all standing, they just stand around and talk to each other, dressed to the nines. They just stand, it looked like the world's largest junior high school dance. I've crossed the international date line at midnight, thereby accomplishing nothing. Where else have I been? Been to Chile, actually it's pronounced Chile. I learned that in Argentina. Been to Rome. When you cruise to Rome, actually it's about an hour inland, and you dock at a town called Civitavecchia, which is Italian for extra syllables. And we took a cab to get to Rome, and the cab driver, myself and other entertainers, took a cab to get to Rome, and we got lost. And I said to the cab driver, I go, doesn't every road lead to Rome? He goes, so far I found 2 that don't. Alaska, land of the midnight sun. You know, in Alaska, one night stand can be a meaningful relationship. I visited Hiroshima, Japan. The day I visited Hiroshima, Japan, cold, rainy, windy, miserable. Not the best day to visit Hiroshima, not the worst. Gonna go camping. I'm not a good camper. I should. You know what? I thought about bringing up notes, and I thought of you and your class and how you probably told never bring up notes. So I didn't. So there may be a few jokes you missed.
You're out of my
I know, that's right, I know. Anyway, gonna go camping, I'm not a good camper, I tend to overpack. Office equipment? Well, I'd rather have a 3-hole punch and not want it. Want it and not have it, that's the kind of personality I am. By the way, never open the back of a 3-hole punch in a windy campsite. Never. I would have been there for hours. Because those little white circles had not a herd of wild Roomba appeared from the east. All right, thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Bill Abel, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it going one more time for Bill. So good. Wow, not the best thing. Not the worst. Well, have you had a good time tonight? Yeah. How about a hand for Jeff Bell, who opened the show? There is no Tina, only Amber. Give the newlyweds a round of applause. Hannah Michelotti, ladies and gentlemen. Hannah Michelotti. This is her last night before Satan smites her, so Hannah, thank you very much. And one more time for Milt Abel. Our next second Sunday is November 10th, so if you've had a great time tonight, I wish you would tell everyone about it. Jeff O'Malley is one of the 3 comics that I will bring up on that night. And also, the showcases for my fall quarter classes are going to be, well, they're on Sundays. It's the 3rd, the 17th, and the 24th, and that's only a $5 cover, so it's not as good a show. No, it's a great show. They're all very, very good shows. And we certainly need to laugh today more than ever. Thank you guys very much for showing up. Our pleasure. Have a great weekend. Thank you.